Welcome to 97.7 FM, Cityscape, and this special edition of Film in Valleywood. We want to welcome everyone that's watching us over Facebook Live, everyone that's watching us over YouTube, as well as everyone listening to us over 97.7 FM online or over the airwaves. We have a great interview for you in store, so tell all your friends to log in. We are live right now with a special interview with Dr. John McKay. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Now, Dr. John McKay is a award-winning broadcaster of over 40 years, anchor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You know, one of the largest markets in the United States. He's a filmmaker. He's recently narrated his latest project, which is a documentary that he's going to tell us about in a bit. But he's originally from LA, and so I'm sorry, Illinois. I apologize. Originally from Illinois, and so please, Doc, just tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I worked in. My dad was in the military, so I lived all over the place. I was born in Illinois, then lived in Idaho, then lived in Nebraska, then moved to Spain for a few years, and moved back to Nebraska for junior high school, then moved back to Spain for high school. And then I'm a graduate of a Jesuit university in Omaha, Creighton University. And it was there that really I was interested first in radio, because where I lived and when I was there in high school, we didn't have U.S. television. We had a radio station, but U.S. television, no. So I didn't watch television 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. But when I got back, I started watching the news, and I was like, man, I like this too. So it started for me with radio. And then I worked in Omaha for 7.5 years, and I came to Dallas in 1984. I retired in 2019, and my wife and my wife is from McAllen. We moved here to be closer to her family. And see, I love the Valley. I mean, I'm from Nebraska, I admit it, but I hate cold weather. so the Valley's perfect for me.
So it wasn't too bad of an adjustment for you?
Oh no, nah. I know people complain about the heat, but I will take 107 over 15 below zero any day of the week. Any day of the week.
I can only imagine that the temperature's that low. I've never been in temperatures that dip that low.
It's just, I mean, every day you get in your car and you got to turn your car on, and you got to let it run for 10 to 15 minutes to warm it up. You got to chip all the frost from the engine every morning. You got to sit in your car for a while. Then you got to hope that nobody runs into you because of ice and snow on your way to work or wherever you got to go. And then your car sits there for 3 or 4 hours. You might have to do it all over again when you go home. So no, I don't want any of that.
Were you in Dallas, I want to say, the winter of 1989, where we had an ice storm?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The worst, I'm trying to think, the worst winter that I can remember in Dallas actually was the week that the Super Bowl was supposed to be in Dallas. And I was working there then. It was so bad. We had ice that had covered the road that was about this thick. In fact, I think I may have video of that somewhere.
What year was that?
That would have been when the Cowboys Super Bowl. That's
in the 90s.
No. Oh no. No. The real. No, it was the Cowboys. We played at Jerry's place is what it was. Okay. The Cowboys weren't there, but the Super Bowl was there. And so that would have been. It's after 2000. Okay. But it was miserable. I mean, the whole week was. And the sad thing is, the whole place had prepared everything, and they had to slowly but surely move the teams back and forth because, this is Texas. We don't really have that kind of equipment that's necessary to move that much ice. But still, Dallas being Dallas, they pulled it off.
Yeah, I was already living here, so I didn't get to experience that.
Oh man, wow! You didn't miss it.
So, tell me about your experience at WFA in Dallas. One of the biggest stations. I believe it's probably the biggest news station here in Texas.
Yeah, I think it is the biggest in Texas. Certainly, WFA has won more awards than any TV station in Texas. Probably more than 99% of the TV stations in the country. The photographers who work there, the last 2 or 3 years have won National Press Photographers Association Station of the Year. Um, it really is a place where they have folks who join who are required to do some very special things, and there's not too much patience if you're not ready for the game, because it's very competitive. Dallas being a large market, it's very competitive. When I arrived in '84, I worked in the Fort Worth newsroom uh, until 1988. For 2 of those years, I was in charge of the Fort Worth newsroom, and then they moved me to Dallas, and I became a news manager and weekend anchor, and in fact anchored with Gloria Campos, who used to be in this market, and she went on to do the 5 o'clock news and then the 6 o'clock news, and then both of us did the 10 o'clock news um, for many years until she retired in 2014 or 2015, and I retired in 2019. But yeah. Um, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Would I like to go back to it? No. I mean, I'm 71 years old. It really is a business for somebody who's if you like to write, and I preferred not at that level. You don't write your own material, but you can edit your own material. You can rewrite your own material. I preferred to do that. But it's a lot of work, and you've got to get up in the morning and read a lot of newspapers, and when you get to be my age, it's like, no, man, I'm not doing that. So I enjoyed it very much.
I see. So now, tell me about your filmmaking background, your filmmaking experience, your projects and documentaries and such.
I I was fascinated by major crimes that were not solved, and that sort of thing. For example, a lot of people will call this the O.J. Simpson trial the trial of the century, and I point out to them, well, no, in Texas we had a wealthy multimillionaire, probably the richest man in Texas, if not the richest man in the country, Cullen Davis, who was accused of attempting to kill his wife, but then killing several other people during that attempt uh, in Fort Worth. He got off. Big time lawyers, and the jury found him not guilty. He and the interesting thing about this is, about a year later, what happened is they actually the authorities actually taped him talking to folks, and he was and you could hear him say, well, I need you to get the judge, and I need you to get some other people and kill these people. He got off on that one too.
Wow.
So I will give him credit. I did a hour-long conversation with him in which we went back through what happened and why. He still says he didn't do it. He says it was somebody else who did it, and that he was watching went to the movie Bad News Bears the night that this killings happened. A lot of people think that he did it, but he says he didn't do it. And the way our system works, until that's the case, that's true. But I did a documentary on that. Dallas, like many big cities, has a long history of pretty tense relationship between the minority community and the police department. And so I did a half-hour program on what that relationship was like. And we had one year in 1988 when 5 Dallas police officers were shot and killed over the 1 year period. So I put that together. And 2 months after we aired that, we had the situation in Dallas where the 5 police officers were shot and killed by the same person the same night. And so we had to put that one back together and try to add and work in some of that again. So I like doing things like that. I like doing things that give something context. I think the problem that we have nowadays is they want you to explain the world to people in 90 seconds, and you can't do that. I mean, you're an educator, so you know what I'm talking about. I mean, film and video can provide some context if we have the right edits, use the right people, do the kind of the proper writing, that sort of thing. So that's what I'm fascinated by.
Fantastic. Now, tell us about this latest documentary that you narrated.
Yeah, narrator. It's called the Stones Are Speaking. The producer, her name is Olive Talley, and Olive gives me this call, and she says, "Hey, I'm interested in having you voice narrate this documentary I've been working on." The general science is that people came to this hemisphere through Alaska, came down. That's 12, 13,000 years ago. There is a place just outside of Austin where they were able to determine that no, actually, people may have come here as much as 20,000 years ago. The documentary is about the man who first heard about all this and went out and looked at it. And it's like 30 acres. And there were arrowheads and things like that all over the place. And the folks were just, they were selling them off because they thought it was just fascinating. He's going, oh, no, 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 no. This is a gold mine. The interesting story to me about it is, first of all, the long struggle he had to get to convince people that this was serious. He tried to get the state of Texas to buy it. That didn't happen. It ends up that this man and his wife take all of their savings and they buy it and they give it to the rest of us. And now scientists are there and have been there working on it. And they're the ones who've been able to prove to the scientific community, yeah, take a look at Texas. If you want to talk about the hemisphere and people coming into this hemisphere, Texas is a central place. And the really sad part about all this is this guy who discovered this, Dr. Michael Collins, he has Alzheimer's. And so now he's starting to lose a lot of his memory about what he had to do all of this. So it's a fascinating documentary. I think it's going to be on all the Texas TV stations, Texas PBS stations next month. I think here in the Valley, if you got Spectrum, it's Channel 10. It'll be on at 10 o'clock. I believe it's on the 17th of March. There's also an app that you can look at that says The Stones Are Speaking.com. And if you want to look at a trailer, you can see it there. You can, if you have the PBS app, you can probably take a look at it there as well. But if you love science and you're fascinated by Texas history, this is the place to be.
Fantastic. Yeah, we look forward to that. As well as there might be a special screening of the film down here.
That's what we're hoping. In fact, you're getting some secret information. I'm going to try to convince folks that maybe this would be a good place to have a screening of that. It's already won an award at the Austin Film Festival. It's up for some awards at some other places. But I think the Valley would be a terrific place for it.
Fantastic. Yes, I hope we're able to do that. I hope we're able to bring that film down here so folks can watch it. They can obviously watch it on PBS next month, but have a chance to talk to some of the folks that put this film together. Would be actually have a Q&A afterwards.
Oh yeah,
it would be fascinating to be able to do that. So hope to be able to do that. So now, tell me what's next for Dr. McKay.
Well, I finished a PhD at the University of Texas at Dallas just before I retired, and I was hoping that I was going to come down here and maybe do some teaching, university level, or perhaps work at the PBS station here. But when we get here, find out, well, the PBS station is gone. So I said, okay, well, what about the radio station, public radio? No, public radio station is gone. So now I write. I'm a contributing columnist for the Dallas Morning News, And so from time to time, I will have some things in the Dallas Morning News. I had something in a couple of weeks ago. My father passed away um, New Year's Day, and so I wrote something about he had dementia, about the long struggle that people have with dementia, because unless you're there and you're actually working with your relative, uh, it's a really hard thing. Plus, my dad is the opposite of me. I don't like cold weather. I like warm weather, so I like being here. He didn't like hot weather. He liked warm weather, so he was in Colorado and refused to move here. So I was constantly having to go check and see how he was doing. And the problem was that he would tell me, "Oh, I'm not driving." Well, I flew up there one time and got on, see how things were going. Asked him again not to drive. I flew back here. I wasn't in my house for 90 minutes, and the phone rang, and it's the Colorado State Patrol, and they said, "Your dad's been driving down the interstate the wrong way." So I had to get back on a plane and fly back up there. And at that point, I told them, "You're not living by yourself. You got two choices. You can come live with us, or you can we can find you a memory care place here." So he was in memory care in Colorado Springs until January 1st. And he loved it. I mean, it was good for him. He was happy. He had some new friends. I've been working on things like that. I've written about that, written about some historical things. I'll probably write about some stuff going on in the Valley. I've done some stuff from Spectrum with about Valley politics, uh, which is fascinating to me because most people who don't live here think the Valley's all Democrats and the Republicans have no hope. And I keep saying, nah, if you've been living there for a while, you drive up and down 10th Street on election the weeks before election day. Man, you would think that it's all Republicans. So there are changes going on. And so I've been trying to track some of those. I'll probably write about some of that and do a little more writing. I would still like to do films and videos. So if anybody out there is working on a project and they want somebody, I certainly like to do that.
Fantastic. Well, our condolences for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll keep you in our thoughts and prayers. And we're glad to have you down here in the Valley.
Oh, I love it. In fact, he and I have spoken once before. That idea about Valleywood to me is brilliant because I don't see why I have no idea why Hollywood or New York have to be the only places where movies are made. They should be made here. They should be made in the Valley. They should be. I think the people are here. Certainly the technical expertise is here to do this. And I think it's also the case probably with music. That there's a lot of talent here, and we just haven't had the right luck yet. But we'll get it. It's coming.
We sure will. You know, people have been throwing around the name Valleywood for years. I want to say maybe the first time that I started talking to a friend about it was probably about 10, 15 years ago. And I know for a fact that there were some folks even before then talking about, we should have something called Valleywood. And so it's been a long process to get to where we're at right now. This organization just promotes, films down here. We're promoting that the Valley is a film-friendly area. We've got great talent. We've got lots of great locations. We've got a crew. We've got places where they can get equipment. And so it's neat. It's a great place to shoot. It's a great place to produce films.
Oh yeah. I think I was watching. It might have been the second movie, Sicario.
Mm-hmm.
And they claimed they were shooting in McAllen. Yeah. I'm looking at it going, McAllen I know of. Right. But that should have been here. I mean, there are people. To me, there's so much. There's things that are so different in the Valley. If you go to San Juan, it's very different from McAllen. McAllen's very different from Brownsville. I don't know how many people I talk to who say, "You live in the Valley?" Well, it's not many people down there. I said, man, Brownsville's got a bunch of people. Harlan has got a bunch of people. Weslaco, McAllen got Mission, Edinburgh, where I live. There are a lot of folks here. Plus the small towns in between. If you want to do a film on agriculture, oh my goodness gracious, this is the place to do it. And not only that, I think if you're a producer you would find that this is a much more inviting community, a region for doing that kind of work. If you just come down here, because I will add another thing: the food here is much better than people tell me, I get really good food in Dallas. No, 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 no. If you're looking for Mexican food, you need to come to the Valley if you want the real thing.
That's right. That's right. I was born and raised in Dallas, but I will agree with you 100% that the best Mexican food is from this area. It does come from this
Oh
area.
my gosh, it's just I first moved here. I can honestly remember the first time I had carnitas and chicharrones, and looking and everybody's looking at me because I'm looking at it going, I didn't know this was supposed to taste this way. So heck yeah, come on down the valley. Definitely.
That's right. Well, we're glad to have you here. And before we wrap up, is there anything that I might have forgotten to ask you that you want to mention or tell our audience?
If you know anybody who can promote local film, please, the governor, whoever. I mean, I think that there's some real potential there. 10 years ago, if you would have said they're going to be launching rockets from here, people would have laughed at you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is already a space coast. And I maintain that you can have the same kind of industry, the same kind of desire for people to come together here that you have with that. And so if you know anybody, promote the Valley, promote what we're doing here. I understand that people from Brownsville sometimes fight with people in McAllen. Forget all that. Promote the Valley, Valleywood.
That's right. That's right. Well, the doors are always open here, Dr. McKay, at the station. You're welcome back anytime. You're welcome to join us anytime. Tell us about your latest projects, latest endeavors, and we wish you the best. You're going to be here, so we're going to be bugging you. We're going to be calling you and inviting you to events and telling you about and just networking. Creating some sort of synergy that we can propel this area here and for the benefit of everyone around.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, thanks again for making the time out of your busy schedule to come out and talk to us.
I'm retired, so I'm just chilling.
Fantastic. We want to thank everyone for watching and for listening to 97.7 FM. Until next time, keep it right here. Don't go away.